TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, unidentified aircraft purportedly caused significant damage to Syrian military installations housing Iranian proxies south of Damascus city. Hassan Nasrallah, Secretary General of the Lebanese Iranian-proxy Hezbollah, warns that his internationally recognized terror organization will not stand idly by while Israel extracts gas from a newly contested offshore reservoir. The chief of the Hellenic National Defense General Staff, Lieutenant General Konstantinos Floros, concludes the first official visit to Israel. Unidentified aircraft launched a salvo of precision-guided munitions toward a number of installations in the southern countryside of Damascus city. 3 Syrian military installations said to house Iranian proxy militias were struck last night in a reported bombardment which the Damascus regime immediately attributed to Israel. A Syrian military source noted that the alleged Israeli strike included, quote, bursts of missiles from the direction of the occupied Golan, targeting some points south of Damascus. And while Syria's aerial defense array was activated, a number of the incoming projectiles hit their intended targets, causing significant material losses. It is important to know that prior to last night's strike, circulating reports claimed that Iranian shipments had arrived in Damascus International Airport and that the area that was subject to the purported Israeli attack is evidently controlled by the Lebanese Iranian-proxy Hezbollah. The IDF spokesperson's unit did not confirm or deny its alleged responsibility in response to TV7's request for comment. Meanwhile, Syed Hassan Nasrallah, Secretary General of the Lebanese Iranian-proxy Hezbollah, warned that his internationally recognized terror organization will not stand idly by while Israel extracts gas from a newly contested offshore reservoir. In a televised speech from an undisclosed bunker in Beirut, the Hezbollah leader continued by boastfully proclaiming that his organization has the tools to overwhelm Israel's defenses of its offshore rigs, all the while insisting that Israeli activities at the Karish gas reservoir constitute an attack on Lebanon. It is important to highlight that the disputed maritime zone that had been subjected to repeated U.S. broker negotiations between Israeli and Lebanese delegations did not include the Karish gas reservoir, which was uncovered roughly a decade ago, until 2020, when Lebanon conveniently decided to expand its claim, thus encompassing the Karish gas field. Israel naturally rejected the expanded Lebanese claim as baseless. In a joint statement by the Israeli Defense, Foreign, and Energy Ministers, it highlighted that the Karish rig is a strategic asset of the State of Israel, which prioritizes the protection of its strategic assets and is prepared to defend them and the security of its infrastructure, all in accordance with its rights. The statement continued by emphasizing that the Karish rig is located in Israeli territory several kilometers south of the area over which negotiations are being conducted between Lebanon and Israel under U.S. mediation, and pledged further that the rig will not pump gas from the disputed territory. And while negotiations on defining a common maritime border stalled since May of last year over lack of tangible progress, Lebanon called on the United States to send its special envoy, Amos Hochstein, to address Beirut's latest claims and complete the maritime border delimitation negotiations as soon as possible. It is important to highlight further that while Hezbollah's threats against Israel are deliberate, it knows full well that if it launches such an attack against Israeli strategic assets, it would draw Israel into an all-out war, which may not exclude its Iranian patrons. Therefore, in a bid to avoid such a scenario, Hezbollah's Deputy Secretary General Naim Qassem called upon the Beirut government to resolve its dispute with Israel diplomatically.
نحن نعمل تحت سقف الدولة اللبنانية في تحديد الحدود البحرية، وليس لنا مسار خاص، وبالتالي كل ما نستطيعه هو أن نضغط للإسراع في اتخاذ القرار المناسب، ولسنا من يحدد مهلة اتخاذ القرار من قبل الدولة. هي مسؤولة، سنعمل من خلال وزرائنا ونوابنا ووجودنا السياسي أن نضغط على المسؤولين للإسراع في هذا الأمر.
Qasim also highlighted the necessity to form a new Beirut government as quickly as possible after Hezbollah and its allies lost a parliamentary majority in last month's election, forcing it to negotiate with parties which oppose its Iranian-aligned project. Despite Hezbollah's hope to win over its domestic rivals, its greatest rival, namely the chairman of the Christian Lebanese Forces Party, Samir Jiajia, pledged to reject any cooperation with political actors that align with Hezbollah.
تنشوف شو الاسم الأكثر قبولا. ما عندنا فيتو على حدا أكيد، إلا إذا حدا مع مشروع حزب الله طبعا بيكون عندنا فيتو عليه إنه يجي رئيس حكومة، أو إذا حدا يعني ثابت الفساد بحقه أكيد عندنا فيتو عليه بيكون. من هونيك وطالع لوين رح توصل هالمشاورات بدنا نشوف، بدنا ننطر بعد بكير.
Jiajia further acknowledged a major confrontation between the two projects, which include a national Lebanese project that seeks to maintain Beirut's historic connection to the West, as opposed to the so-called Hezbollah project, which aims to secure Iranian dominance over the battered country. And while former anti-Hezbollah factions, including the Christian Free Patriotic Movement of President Michel Aoun, opted to join the Iranian sphere in recent years, the Christian Forces Party is resolved to hold onto its dignity.
بالمجلس النيابي طبعا في مواجهة كبيرة بين مشروعين، لا بين شخصين ولا بين حزبين، مش مزبوط. بين مشروعين واضحين المعالم جدا. في مشروع اسمه مشروع حزب الله، برجع بقول مشروعه لحزب الله، مش حزب الله ناس مثله مثلنا. مشروع حزب الله اوكي، هذا مشروع حزب الله نحن كليا ضده اوكي. تيار الوطني الحر رابط حاله بهالمشروع، فينا نقول بدهم اياه.
While negotiations are taking place behind closed doors, local sources have told TV7 that breakthrough is precarious at best, with projections expecting Lebanon to enter a long period of political stalemate. This may spell further hardships for Israel's northern neighbor, since its national reserves are effectively running out.
Definitely, the level of reserves is declining over time. There's no question about that. As you know, in 2020, we have more than $25 billion of reserves. Before, when the previous government, when they were talking about negotiating with the IMF, at that time they have more than $25 billion. So we lost a lot of reserves over the past two and a half years. And I think the more we wait, the more we lose the reserves, and the more difficult the situation will become.
Well, Lebanon's caretaker government received a mandate from the president of Lebanon to negotiate with the International Monetary Fund on reaching an agreement that will effectively bail out Lebanon from its economic downfall. The IMF communications director revealed in his latest press briefing that as of yet, Beirut is struggling to implement its preliminary commitments to reform.
We continue to work with the authorities on the implementation of their comprehensive economic reform program. Complete and timely implementation of the first steps is key to initiate the process of addressing the deep-seated problems which Lebanon and the Lebanese people obviously face, and that have resulted in the deep crisis that Lebanon faces, and the large increases in poverty which are of great concern.
It is important to know that Israel is also closely monitoring the domestic situation in Lebanon, since a long-lasting political stalemate could drive the country into the abyss of civil war that would then have inevitable consequences to the security of Israel. In other news, the chief of the Hellenic National Defense General Staff, Lieutenant General Konstantinos Floros, concluded a first official visit to the State of Israel. During his visit, the top Hellenic officer participated in a long list of meetings with his Israeli counterpart, Lieutenant General Aviv Kochavi, during which a number of topics were discussed, including shared challenges in the Mediterranean region. Moreover, discussion also focused on bilateral cooperation between the two militaries, with an emphasis on intelligence-related cooperation and joint training opportunities. At the culmination of their meetings, General Kochavi voiced his deep appreciation of Greece, including the connection between the Hellenic National Defense and the IDF, and pointed to the deepening of cooperation between the two militaries, including in the latest IDF Beyond the Horizon drills as part of the month-long Chariots of Fire exercise, which took place in Cyprus. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. It is important for us to reiterate that TV7 Israel is a donation-based ministry. Therefore, if you're blessed by our productions, please consider making a financial contribution that in turn will enable us to sustain our ongoing operations. Separately, I would like to encourage you, pray for our persecuted brothers and sisters worldwide, in addition to our unceasing prayers for the peace of Jerusalem and the salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you a Shabbat Shalom u'Mevorach, and we will see you again on Monday at the same time.